What's the most annoying classmate you've ever had? We were watching the Charlie Chaplin film, The Great Dictator, and a girl stood up in the middle of class and stormed out, all while loudly protesting watching Nazi propaganda films starring Hitler. This was in high school, so most kids were pretty clueless back then, but this was inexcusable. This was in history class around the holiday season. The teacher asked if anyone knew what the Jewish version of Christmas was. This intelligent being raised his hand and answered, "The Holocaust?" In my international studies class, there's this guy that just has to have an opinion on every single issue and he usually knows nothing about it. For example, we were discussing the much debated reasons for why the US decided to enter Iraq. He looks around and clears his throat as if to silence the room with wisdom. If Iraq doesn't like being invaded, maybe they shouldn't fly planes into our buildings. The conspiracy theorist in a poli-sci class is always, without doubt, the worst possible classmate. We'd be talking about the Holocaust, and his hand would shoot up. We'd all cringe. 5 minutes later we'd be hearing about Dick Cheney, Halliburton, Monsanto and the 9/11 setup. Somehow, every class, every imaginable topic was somehow related to that. While I was an undergrad at a public university, I enrolled in a modern Christian thought class that was excellent. It covered a range of contemporary issues that affected the development of contemporary Christian theology. There was a mix of conservative and liberal students, but everyone got along fine, except for one student. He was ultra-conservative and truly did not understand why the class wasn't Sunday morning Bible study. His objections grew more and more vocal in class. Once we were supposed to read from short essays that we wrote the night before. The student held up his paper that had 2 sentences on it and read, "I did not write anything on this assignment. I do not understand why we would have to do this." Later, he just flat out challenged the professor on all the class source materials and asked if she had read everything that was being cited in the books. She replied that a chemistry professor may not have done every single experiment mentioned in a textbook, but they can understand the overall line of research, or something close to that. The student's argument got more and more heated until finally the professor stopped the conversation and asked him to meet her after class. I'm not sure what happened. It was past the date to drop the class without an academic penalty, but I don't remember ever seeing him come back. Where it says, name. Does that mean my name? Well, this one girl wears devil horns on days when she's on her period. She told the whole class on the first day of school. In my biology class, a girl raised her hand once and asked if we'd be able to physically see the letters A, T, G, and C on the DNA when we extract it from the strawberries. I'm in college. One lady was in my college algebra class my freshman year. I named her Calculator Lady. She came into class late on the second day, after missing the first day, and sat down in the front. The professor was going over the homework from the first day of class and she's just nodding her head like alright, got this kind of nod. The professor has one of those graphic calculators on the projector so we can all see how she's keying in different things to get the answer, and finally the girl goes, "Wait, I don't get it, mine's not working," and the professor goes through it one more time. The girl says, "I think mine's broken." The professor walks over. Her book bag was on the desk so the professor couldn't see her calculator from the front, and looks at her and says, "Well honey, a graphic calculator is not an iPhone," and just walked away. Calculator Lady proceeded to slow the entire class down so much that the professor had to drop the final test. Sat next to a kid in high school who got angry when he did not understand what we were learning. It was a math test this time and, in a magnificent fury, he ate his test whole. I was taking a creative writing poetry class a few years ago, and there was one guy in the class who would start every serious comment, about literary theory, about someone else's poem in workshop, whatever, with, "As the father of the Church of Satan, Antonis Zanderlave, would say, but he could never get the middle name right and it came out like Salazar every time. It was made more awkward in that he was a 6 feet 2 inches overweight African American with a bit of a stutter, a wandering eye, and strong introverted tendencies. He wasn't inherently malicious. He just had a bug up his ass to let everyone know the Church of Satan is about pleasure and hedonism, not devil worship. In a public speaking class, I was reciting a speech from a play. In it, the character says a sentence containing the phrase hors d'oeuvres, practiced it many times, had taken French in high school, so knew how to pronounce it adequately. Scumbag brain steps in and reads it literally as hors d'oeuvres. The teacher kindly corrected me afterwards, but I was pretty betrayed with embarrassment already. There was a kid in my biology class one year who kept trying to convince the teacher that dinosaurs never existed, and that museums made fake fossils and dinosaur bones to make money. There was this one girl at my university that was devoutly Christian, but also a biology major. She would constantly bring up her beliefs in class, argue with professors about how evolution isn't real, and how genetics is God's plan. The whole class would cringe when she raised her hand. A lot of professors started to ignore her, but if they did she would yell out her objections anyways. At some point I think she either dropped out, or probably failed and got kicked out. One day my friend came home and told us this story. It was end of the semester, so they were coming to the last 50 years of music. The teacher spent a class talking about rock in the 60s and 70s, and made a presentation of the whole Rolling Stones versus Beatles debate. As part of the demonstration, he put on I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. Well, this girl raised her hand, and said that the Rolling Stones stole this from someone else. The teacher, knowing the Stones covered a lot of blues songs, asked her who had sung it originally. The girl commented, Britney Spears, and I think it's messed up that they can destroy her music like that. According to my friend, the whole class just went dead silent and the teacher just stared at the girl. He then told the entire class that he was going outside to have a cigarette. They could get up or stay, but if in 10 minutes when he got back, this girl had better understand why she was wrong, or he'd fail her flat out. He then walked out. The entire class tried talking to her and she wouldn't take any proof offered to show she was wrong. She ended up just walking out. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you would like to support this channel and help the growth of many more videos, please subscribe to Funny Frack, and turn notifications on, so you don't miss any future vids.